Okay, welcome everybody, and those contacts will be used just to send you the invitation for the private group of Philosophical Café, so you will be able to see all the other events. I already invite you from now to the other two events that we're going to have here, because this place is so special. I really like it a lot. I mean, it's my favorite. And yes, we have even candles. And yes, please help Carolina. And yes, because we're going to have the evening tomorrow. The next week we're going to have the philosophical evening. In the philosophical evening we have small tables. You go around and you change topics. Maybe you didn't attend this one, or you did. No, you didn't. So you have to come next week. And that's the classic philosophical cafe. What's a classic philosophical cafe? In 1981, in Place de la Bastille, in the Café au Phare, there is basically a coffee in Paris. This philosopher, Marc Sauté, started this practice of meeting with people and discussing all together. Of course, with time, this practice got better and better and better, and each country has a slightly different version of. Our version is quite classic, so I'm just doing the classic version. But of course, we've been improving some little things with the time, running the Philosophical Cafe in Poland. The Philosophical Cafe in Poland in Wrocław is the first Philosophical Cafe in Poland. Even in Warszawa, they've been calling me because I was the first one to organize some Philosophical Cafe in Poland. And today, maybe somebody of you already heard this interview in Radio Ram. I was speaking about the Philosophical Cafe. And I'm very happy to have you here, all of you, especially people that are coming back. If somebody needs some lesson of English, I have here Matt Tite, that is the translator of my book. I finally have my first book translated in English, and it's a book about how to deal with pain and depression, and it's translated by Matt, that I thank once again. And now we're working to translate my first movie. It's a philosophical movie that is available only in Italian by now, and we will make the subtitles in Italian too, in French, in English too. Too many languages in this town. So, for the people that never came before, what are we going to do this night? First of all, everybody will be able to propose some topic. For example, Malek will raise his hand and will say, I would like to discuss about love and care, and everybody can vote. And Vincent can say, I want to discuss about hate and how to kill people, and we will vote. And of course, I will not interfere. I mean, my only job is to make you able to speak about those topics. My job is not to give you any opinion. So I will just make you discuss. And we will be like one enormous brain with different ideas. Everybody will listen to everybody else, and everybody will be able to speak and be listened by everybody else. We are many people, so I'm going to ask you to stand up when you speak today, because it's going to be easier for other people to listen to you, okay? As you see, when I speak, I stand up, so you will be doing the same. Like, you stand up and you use your beautiful voice. What's my job? Last thing, and we start. I give private consulting. Private philosophical consulting is exactly what Socrates was doing. So if you read some Socrates dialogue, that's exactly my job. Instead of giving you some answer, if you come to me, I help you to find the answer. I'm kind of a trainer, but not for gym, for brains. That's my point. That's my job, and it's been since 9 years now. And I've been the director and organizer of the Festival of Philosophy of Florence for 15 years. Yes, I'm a workaholic. So, let's start with it. Please propose your topics. Raise your hands and propose. The idea must be, you propose what you really would like to discuss. If something really you care about, you propose it. Doesn't matter if you think that maybe other people will not want to discuss it. You just must be the one that want to discuss this topic. It must be important, interesting for you. And another thing, please don't propose topics that everybody agree on. because otherwise there will be no discussion. I mean, are we everybody agree that we don't have to rape children? I hope so. I really hope so, okay? And so please let's not discuss about this because everybody will agree. We go with the first proposal. Raise your hands. Okay.
Work-life balance.
What?
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance.
Yeah.
And you are, once again, your name?
Natalia.
Natalia. Do I have other Natalia? I have just one, okay, so I don't have to add anything else.
That is the topic, that equation.
Yes, but it is...
And yeah, this is the question, like it should be the equation, is it correct? Like this topic?
In my opinion, even if it's not a question, it can be discussed. It can be the title of a discussion instead of a question. That's up to you to decide. iPhone. You have one.
Polarization in society.
Polarization.
In society.
If I suggest a topic, that means that I will have to talk about it a lot?
No. Actually, you can even win the topic and say nothing. Nobody will force you.
I can suggest a topic that seems to me very interesting. Law of attraction.
Law of attraction.
No, law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Anna. Do I have other Anna? No? Okay, so no add needed.
Role of pleasure in life. The role of pleasure in life.
Role
Of pleasure in life.
of pleasure in life. I know your name, but for everybody?
Azar.
Azaj. Thank you, Azaj.
War. What is it, and can it ever be legitimate?
War.
War.
Your name for everybody?
Vincent. Sorry.
Should half of the world should commit suicide in order to save world for the climate disaster?
Sounds interesting. Once again?
Should half of the world should be killed or commit suicide in order to save the world from climate disaster?
Yes.
Name?
Rohit.
Rohi. Thank you, Rohi. Raise your hands, people that are here for the first time. Now, people for the first time should propose at least one, in my opinion. You do what you want, but my opinion, you should try one. I mean, why not?
Should there be the limits of telling the truth?
Limits of what?
Telling
Or
truth.
telling the
Telling
truth.
the truth.
And you are?
Sasha.
Sasha. That's interesting, but all of them are. New people, new people.
Okay. The future of Europe. Let it be.
The future
Of Europe.
of Euro or Europe?
Europe. Europe.
Europe.
But
Because both can be interesting actually. Name?
Vladislav, or shortly Vlad. I don't know how it's better to pronounce.
To write it.
You're Polish?
It's red.
No, I'm Ukrainian.
Ah, Vladislav.
Vladislav.
Okay. Okay. Malek.
What does give a human value? What gives human their value?
Yes, I was about to ask you to speak out your name, but I already done it, Malek. So I already did it, not done it.
Yeah.
Other topics. What is truth? Your name for everybody? Victor. And new people? Some topic? You don't have to, if you don't. Okay. Topic?
Sure. My topic is how useful is hard work?
How useful?
How useful is hard work?
Name?
Vincent.
Vincent. We have two Vincent here. Was it a hand?
Yes, like
Do you want
I
to
wasn't
propose?
sure. What makes the people more real themselves to the truth? Like what makes the person to real themselves?
What makes?
Authentic, that's why I wasn't sure about.
Okay, what makes the people authentic?
Or also which makes it like not on it.
Name?
Mohammed.
Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed, and we have
It's
Andri.
not popular question, but anyway, is our world is reality or is just simulation?
Is our world
Maybe universal.
and new people. Something to propose?
I have to shoot something.
No, you don't have to if you don't want.
Okay. What is the meaning of good?
What is the meaning of good? Your name once again?
Ophir.
Ophir. Ophir.
With an R.
Yes. Thank you, Ophir. And we still have space for a last one.
To be or not.
Do you really want to propose it?
Oh my God.
What?
To be or not to be? It can be a topic. After 1 week of parties, getting drunk, to be or not? Makes sense.
About cryptocurrencies, for example.
Cryptocurrency.
Future of cryptocurrencies.
Well, okay. No, the point is that everything can be philosophical, but the problem is that, for example, if you start with a name or with a specific topic like that, people can be not informed enough to speak. That's the problem. So we have to propose stuff that everybody is more or less able to contribute to. That's the only.
I think it's more common maybe. What about next like epoch after the money?
Yes.
It could be more common also.
Future of money.
Not
Future of money, it can be a topic, for example. Yes, why not?
Or like after money. for example.
After money
After
can
money.
be a topic, yes, because everybody can speak about it.
Yeah, after money.
Replacing
Why money? That's another point.
Replacing money. Like,
With money.
Replacing money.
With what?
Vladislav, yes?
yes. If I can propose two topics.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody's going to stop you.
Okay.
We are a free country. It's
Okay.
and especially philosophical cafes, really. I mean, unless you beat up somebody, everything is allowed. So we are going to vote now. How is it going to work? I'm going to read the topic. You raise your hands. In the first phase, you can even vote for every single topic. Is not a problem. But if 2 topics or 3 topics reach more or less the same amount of votes, we're going to vote another time, and this time everybody will be able to vote only for one. Okay?
Okay.
So, first vote. Who would like to... wait. I'm running too much. There are the defensors before. I forgot the defensors. Now, I need somebody that is going to defend every single topic. So, for example, work-life balance is being proposed by Natalia. This is Natalia. This is not Natalia. This is Anna. Sasha, perfect. And where is Anna? I have Anna. Yeah, this one I know actually from like 10 years. But okay, so proposed by Natalia, it means that if I say work-life balance, somebody has to raise the hand and speak like 1 minute about why they would like to discuss about this specific topic. But it must not be Natalia, of course, because we know that Natalia likes the topic. We need somebody else to defend, okay? So, who wants to defend work-life balance? Please tell us why it could be interesting for us. Okay. Vincent. Vincent. But it's Vincent, because he's Vincent. You're Vincent. Okay. Vincent, thank you. Yes, now you have to speak like 1 minute, 2 minutes, just in few sentences. You tell us why, in your opinion, the idea of discussing work-life balance can be a good topic for us.
Sure. So the idea of discussing work-life balance is a good topic because if you were to survey each country in the world, you'd have a different idea about what the balance is or whether or not it should exist. In the United States, most people would probably say that work-life balance is a bad word and that it shouldn't exist and you should sort of work for the rest of your life, whereas in the rest of countries, they might have a slightly different take on that. So I think what would be interesting to discuss is what is the balance, as well as should there be a balance.
Thank you. And now we have polarization in society, proposed by Piotr. So somebody that is not Piotr has to tell us why polarization in society can be a good idea to discuss, not itself. Maybe you can even say, I want to discuss it because I'm totally against, but still, even...
I can say.
Okay, thank you.
I think that polarization in society is a very actual topic because as you know, we have a lot of social groups, social classes. We have a very famous, very well spread concept of multiculturalism, and we know that we have a lot of questions. For example, how to find the balance inside of some states or regions, economical balance, social balance, political balance. And I think the question is quite politician, like from political field, and also we can use knowledge from economical domain, from social sciences, from our just experience, our practice. So I think that even considering religious and different ideologies, so I think it's very open-broaded, how to say, like we can make a lot of links to different domains. So I think that everybody is like professional, specialist in some field, and we can make links to this topic.
Thank you. And now we are going to defend law of attraction. Who would like to discuss about law of attraction? Not Anya, because Anya proposed. War, no, law of attraction.
Yeah.
Law, prawo. Prawo, legge.
It's a process to attract some.
You need to watch The Secret.
Maybe not everybody understands that this is a sort of concept.
Maybe you can raise your hand and tell us.
This term has been documented because there was a movie the same name. I'm not sure if the movie invented the term or not. It's a sort of new age concept trying to describe a fundamental law of the universe or whatever that briefly people can create reality by imagining scenarios that lead to or are exactly that reality. Very hard to describe because I don't really. First, I don't really agree with it, and second, I don't think it's like super well defined in the whole movie.
Okay, thank you for defending.
I can add to that, I guess. So the idea is.
Okay, but in theory it should be one, so be brief.
Oh, just one, sure.
In theory it should be one, but
So it's,
if it's just one sentence, it's not a problem, just add it.
Yeah, so it is an old writer, maybe 100 or so years old, that has been popularized, and like you said, the theory behind it is that if you imagine things, the things that you imagine will show up, even if you don't have them or don't know how to get them, you sort of pretend that it can happen.
Thank you. Role of pleasure in life, proposed by Azaj. Azaj is here. I'm so fucked up, I'm sorry. Role of pleasure in life, so somebody that is not Azaj has to defend. Pleasure in life. Go with it, guys. You can even defend all of them, so don't save yourself for the next one, because you can defend even 5. Who would like to defend role of pleasure in life?
I can try and I don't know if defend, but clarify or steelman the idea. But like, what I understand from it is that the role of pleasure in life is basically what is the motivation behind everything we do. Because we have 2 forces that guide our actions through life, which is avoidance of pain and seeking pleasure. So it's the plus minus in all decisions that we have in life, and all the decision-making mechanisms that drive our way of thinking and our action through life. So the question is, what is the role of the plus side in life and how it affects the rest?
Yeah.
If I understand it correctly.
Yeah.
Thank you. War, what is it? Is it legitimated? Proposed by Vincent. So Vincent is the only one that cannot speak about war, but anyone else can defend the idea of speaking about war. Guys, don't be lazy, just show off. I knew it. I knew it. You're going to defend?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, or can anybody legitimize the war? Yes, something like that. Good. I think it's a very interesting topic because there are wars happening all the time, and especially now. And well, it's good to discuss that because part of the reason that there are very big arguments between different parties, that different sides. Some people say that the war is justifiable, and other people say it's not. And according to me, there's no war is absolutely inevitable. So I think let's debate about it.
Thank you, Victor. And should we kill society to save war disaster? Proposed by Rohi. So, should we kill society to save war from disaster?
50%, not all, everyone.
Thank you for saving somebody.
I can defend that one.
Thank you.
I actually think it's a very good question, one of the better questions that were raised, because it's mostly a political question right now more than philosophical, but if I understand correctly, what Rohi meant is that there are guidelines and policies that are coming into play right now in the global arena to fight climate change, but these policies are proposed and pushed by countries that are responsible for climate change and for global warming, and they are pushing these policies on half of the countries of the world that are not responsible for global climate change. And it's a situation of rich countries, poor countries, and while the rich countries will have to let's say tighten their belt in order to deal with changes in oil prices, changes in transitions to green energy, poor countries would simply collapse and people will starve in the millions. And it's a big political question right now.
Thank you. Should be a limit in telling the truth, proposed by Sasha. This is Sasha for real. Now I have it. Andrew.
Yes. So I think it's very important topic in our time.
You're the only one that cannot stand up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Because yes, from childhood maybe it's like a stereotype. If you want to be a good man, woman, so on, you must say truth. You must say truth only. But actually, in all cases, it's a good idea. Just for example, that if the man or woman could have like a deep illness or something just like this, and if it will be the better if he know it or not. So could we clarify even in common cases, in common cases where we could not say a true and it will be the better for some, not maybe for society, not for some other people or not. And also it will be maybe a good moment how we could like defend this mechanism against some maybe using this mechanism with the help of politics, so they could use also the mechanism for their like points and how we could defend it for some bad things. I think that's just something like this. Yeah.
Thank you, Andriy. The future of Europe, proposed by Vladislav, so everybody, but not Vlad, can speak. Future of L. Proszę bardzo.
The future of Europe or Europe?
Europe, with a P.
Okay.
Can I ask everybody, because the back is roughly the same volume as Guido?
Yes, actually you have to speak loud, otherwise the other people will not get you. Thank you for the remark.
Yes. Okay. The continent.
Yeah, continent.
Okay. So, yeah, there is. It's very interesting because when I see the election from Italy and from Sweden recently, and there are ongoing or expected elections coming in various countries in Europe, which seem very interesting. That so many right-wing parties are coming out and got elected, and it seems like it's sort of unpredictable where the Europe is heading. Yeah, so let's talk about it.
Thank you. And now we have what gives human their value, proposed by Malek. What gives you? What gives?
What gives human beings the value?
Beings, their value. Who wants to defend?
I'll try. I think that's a really good topic to discuss because it concerns everybody and our everyday life. We talk to people and we, I don't know, evaluate them consciously or subconsciously, and it all refers to our own values. And yeah, I think that's some of the most philosophical questions that go to the basis to our values. So let's discuss it.
Thank you, Sasha. What is truth? Who wants to defend what is truth?
I would say that every culture has its own definition of truth and the way it is given or understood by the culture, and ultimately the cultural differences can give a lot of different definitions of truth and I think that there might just not be an ultimate objective definition. And I think a good definition would be close to what is truth in our current culture right here, right now, in this time. And it's not such an easy topic to give very straight and simple definitions.
Thank you. Now we have how useful is hard work, proposed by Vincent. How useful is hard work? Jan,
Okay, like we all have this.
raise up your tall and beautiful.
Okay, thank you. We all have this example from people who have like hard work and work, let's say, example, 10 hours per day, but at the end they get like a lower salary than people who work, let's say, less. I mean, it's objectively, but yeah, at the end it's like a question if it's fair or not. And yeah, I think if it's hard working, like in terms of salaries, is it worth? It depends always. Yeah, how much money do you get at the end of the month, and if it's worth it for you. But also on the other hand, it's the other factor would be if you like your work. You know, like if you work hard but also like it, then it's maybe worth it for you. So I think it's individual from every personality, and we should discuss it.
Thank you. And what makes the people authentic, proposed by Mohammed? Who wants to defend? What makes somebody authentic? You can, for example, try to think what makes me authentic.
Unique.
Is it authentic, unique? Because I can be my true self, but maybe there is somebody else that is like me. So authentic doesn't necessarily means unique.
So maybe we don't understand the actual question actually. In which sense authentic has to be understood?
For example, if you're just doing everything what I say, you're not authentic. You're authentic if you do what you feel like is true, good for you. Yes. But I had one hand here and you never spoke, so.
They haven't like.
The question is mine actually.
Ah, okay, so. Okay. Guys, I'm lost. You're Mohammed, and you are? Azar. Okay. Guys, I'm lost, I told you. I'm totally lost today. And so, yes, you cannot speak. Victor, you want to speak?
Yeah, I want
Okay. Hmm?
I'm a lot. Okay, so authentic, yes? Authentic. Good. Well, it's a there's a actually a philosophical topic. As Heidegger conveyed that authenticity is the being to be. How being to be.
And what makes you like
Authentic.
in your personal view also like which things makes you
It's actually it's sort of a process. He was a phenomenologist, and according to the school of phenomenology, well, authenticity is that you peel, kind of abstractly peel out of all the factors which in effect make you the way you are, and by recognizing them, by peeling them, by by sorting them out, and maybe removing them, and you get your own like self or soul. And but he's not saying that then you get that. Then what you get is the authentic self, but the whole process, the whole thing, what it's doing is the self, is this authenticity, is authenticity. Yeah. So yeah, I want to defend it because it's actually philosophical. Thank you.
Thank you. We have other three topics. One is our world reality or simulation? Who wants to defend?
Me.
Go with it.
Yes, because that's a really good topic. I was wondering about it many times. So, do we really taste, hear, listen, touch? What we really listen, touch, and hear? Is it really our world? If I understand, well, maybe there are different worlds, different realities that we live in. Maybe we are 20 people here and everybody has its own reality. Who knows? How do you feel about it? Maybe because, okay, we are all after COVID, yeah? We have some different smell and taste. So not everybody's experiences the same things in the same way. So it's real, it's only for us, or for the others as well. Thank you. Sorry for my English.
We have other two topics. What is the meaning of good? Proposed by Ophir. What is the meaning of good? Jan.
I don't know. There's not neutral or objectively answer for this. What is good? I think it depends on culture, but even more on.
Can you really stand up because they really don't see you? You see they are hidden.
You see? I think it depends on culture and on every individual, which is climate good or not. I think for some people some things are good, and for other people maybe these are like bad things. So it's every time objectively, and yeah, we should discuss it. I think there's no special answer, but we can philosophy about it.
Thank you, Jan. The last one, replacing money. Who wants to defend replacing money? You already spoke. Let me see if there is somebody that never spoke that wants to defend this one. Back.
So I'm an enthusiast for cryptocurrency. The banks that we have today, they print money out of nothing, and When you put some money into your bank account, they then use that money to rehypothecate, which is a fancy word to say make money out of nothing. And decades and decades of this policy has led to the inflation that we're suffering today. I'm surprised that we haven't had inflation way back in the past. I think we have, but it's been covered up. So the entire system of our money is in the early stages of collapse. And cryptocurrency is something, especially with Bitcoin, which you cannot make more of artificially. It is limited, and therefore it is as money should be. But there are negative sides to things like Bitcoin. It's inaccessible to the typical person because it's an alien technology. It's still in its early days. Also, Bitcoin is now in this category of cryptocurrencies, many of which go under, steal your money, and have many, many problems. So if crypto is a solution, it's certainly one that's got a lot of work to do. But I think we all know that the money system we have now is very imperfect. And is crypto the answer, or is a more traditional solution the answer, or should it be something completely different, like gold or silver or something else that's a limited quantity that can't be created out of nothing? So I think it's something that we're all going to feel the consequences of in the near future, and we already are. So I think it would be a relevant topic.
Thank you, Matt. What is going to happen now is that everybody's going to grab a drink, go to the bathroom, have a pause, and after that we're going to vote for the topic we want to discuss, and we will discuss it. So enjoy the pause and be back in 10 minutes. Okay, guys? Yes. And go to the bathroom. Yes, I know that some of you really want to go to the bathroom, so please don't fight. We have two for women, two for men. I told you this place actually is okay. We're going to vote now, okay? Do you remember the rules for voting? Everybody remember the rules for voting? No, so I'm going to tell you once again. The rules for voting are very easy. For the first turn, everybody can vote for every topic. You can just raise your hand and keep it raised until the hand, no problem. But the 2 or 3 that have more or less the same amount of votes will be voted for real. So in the next turn, you will be able to vote only for one. Wszystko jasne? Tutto chiaro? Tutto è clear? So, everything clear? So, please vote for work-life balance. Who want to discuss about work-life balance? Hands up. Be generous, guys. 1, 2, 3.
The rest don't want to work.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Polarization in society. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, guys, hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another thing, sometimes people tell me, but Guido, you're rigging the vote. I'm not rigging the vote. Sometimes I make mistakes. So if I'm making some mistake, you tell me, okay? Law of attraction. Who's going to vote for the law of attraction? 1, 2, 3, 4. Guys, you're not generous today. Your role of pleasure in life. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. War, what is it? Is it legitimated? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should we kill society to save war disaster? But Rocky just explained that it's not all the society, maybe just the 50%. So,
it's not kill, like kind of suicide or something.
Okay, so
for example,
should we kill society to save the war disaster? Hands up. Raz, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Have you voted?
No.
Okay. Should be a limit intelligence in telling the truth. Should be a limit in telling the truth or not? Who wants to discuss it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But all this side doesn't work. So, the future of Europe. Who wants to discuss the future of Europe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, no.
It was like, fuck you, bro. What gives human believe their value? What give human beings their value? That was the title. As long as I wrote down. I'm not sure if it was perfect, but what give human beings their value?
Yes.
Okay. What gives human beings their value? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is truth? What is truth? What is truth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
Set.
One more.
Wheat. So, how useful is hard work? Is it useful or not? Maybe you just need luck. I mean, it's a topic. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's not a topic. With 4, we're not going to discuss this one probably. We already had some 10 and 8, so. What makes the people authentic? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is our world reality or simulation? Matrix topic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Strong topic. What is the meaning of good? What does good mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
What's the topic?
Is our world no. What is the meaning of good? So we have, please hands up once again because I don't want. You see hands up. What is the meaning of good? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where is the 8?
I was right.
That is correct.
He's mathematician. C'était set. Replacing money. Who wants to discuss about replacing money, the future of money, after money? We just were discussing about that. I mean, I don't remember the exact title, but it was more or less that. Replacing the money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we're going to vote because actually we have a winner, but we still have to see because maybe somebody voted for everything. So we will just make a competition between 4. We have 1 10, 2 8, and 1 9. Any of those of them could be maybe the right one. We will see. So I'm going to read you the 4 last ones, and you're going to vote for just one of them. So choose carefully. First one: should be a limit in telling the truth. Second one, what give human beings their value? Third one, what is truth? Fourth one, is our world reality or simulation? Those are the 4 more voted topics of today, and we're going to pick one, not 2, 1. Actually, even if you pick one and then you want to discuss something else, nobody's going to stop you. But we will start with one of those 4. So, reading once again, 1, should be a limit in telling the truth. 2, what give human beings their value? 3, what is truth? 4, is our world reality or simulation? Hands up. Now you vote, and then after voting, you put the hand on the table. If you don't have a table in front of you, you just find something to put the hand, so your vote is gone, okay? It's gone. Okay. First one, should be a limit in telling the truth. Hands up.
It's called censorship.
8, hands on the table. You 8 people. And what give human beings their value? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What hands on the table, people that voted? And what is truth? And what, we still have 4 people that didn't vote. What makes the people authentic? We have 4 shy guys here. 1 shy, 2 shy.
What force is about reality?
Okay, guys, last turn. Proszę bardzo.
The last one, is it our world is real or?
The last one is our world reality or simulation?
Yeah. So I can.
Yes, but
just one.
Okay. So we have 2 last ones. Please fight for the winner and vote just once now. Who wants to discuss about should be a limit in telling the truth? Second topic, what gives human what gives human beings their value? Guys, go to the first one. Okay, let's hands down. We vote for the first one. We have to vote for one of those 2, or should be a limit in telling the truth, or what gives human their value. Okay, one of those 2 you have to vote. So, first one, should be a limit in telling the truth. Hands up. 1.
Hey, come on.
It's your topic.
It's your topic, come on. Yeah.
Second one is also interesting.
You could still take another topic as well.
And what give human beings their value? Hands up. 9. Vote once again, guys, if you want to be sure. What give human beings their value? Hands up. You already voted the previous one.
No, he already did.
He voted the previous one. If you want to change, you can change. But
No, it's not.
Typical voting. Guys, we not choose President of America.
yeah, because the president of the US doesn't change anything. This is important.
I will.
So, what give human beings their value? Hands up. Raz, dwa, trzy, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 i przegra. I cannot vote.
It's quite interesting that this side is.
It's the bad side.
It's the good side.
Come on to the dark side, we have pumpkins.
Come to the dark side, you have cookies.
Yeah, we have cookies, yeah.
It's truth versus value. So, we're going to discuss should be a limit in telling the truth, proposed by Sasha.
Can we discuss two topics?
If we have time, why not? Nothing's going to stop us. I mean, but we're going to start with this one. Number 7 topic should be a limit in telling the truth. So, beginning, Sasha will tell us why she wants to discuss this topic. Why is that topic interesting in her opinion? You can use biographical facts or even just theoretical reasons as you wish. And your table, your turn.
Maybe the easiest way to describe why did I ask this question, because everybody maybe met at least once in life a person who says, I always tell what I think, you know. And actually that's the question, is should we always tell what we think, and where is the limits, and should we put the limits or no? I also refer to different levels. As the usual conversations where we just talk to people, then in an easy level, and also in some philosophical discussions, in argumentations. How far should we go with our argumentations and saying the truth? For example, that we do not agree, still do not agree, and still do not agree with another person. Or where should we find this balance and these limits of telling the truth?
Thank you, Sasha. What is going to happen now? It's very simple. It's going to happen that, can you move the video because I'm not in? So, yes, just a little bit up, yes. Okay, yes, you have to fix it somehow, yes. And, well, okay, thank you. So, everybody can speak. When somebody speaks, nobody else is opening up the mouth. Everybody is going to listen to everyone. If the person is not easy to hear, you just say, speak up! And the person, of course, will speak up, okay? And if somebody is speaking, and you want to say your opinion, you have to wait your turn. Meaning that if Matt is speaking, but Jan wants to speak, Jan will raise his hand, I will write down the name of Jan, and then Jan will wait for Victor, because before it was Victor, for Vincent, because before it was Vincent, for Anna, and for Natalia, and everybody that already signed it before him. So in order to not forget what you want to say, please write down if you have a piece of paper, otherwise you can use your mobile phone. My opinion, paper is better, but I'm old-style boomer, so. Yes, I am. Indeed. And yes, so who wants to speak the first? What do you think about this topic?
Can you read it all the time?
Read it?
Yeah, just the topic.
The topic that one is, should be a limit in telling the truth.
Should there be limits? Yes.
Should there be a limit?
Yes? Your name was Lisa. You told me just 5 seconds ago, but I'm not a good memory guy. Yes, it's better because this way everybody will hear your beautiful voice.
From my point of view, there should be limits in telling the truth, because we should, in my opinion, we should always take into account that people may be offended by our truth. So, and I don't want to offend people by only telling the truth, and sometimes I can lie if it's a white lie. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. We have Vincent.
Yeah.
Great. So, I would say that the limit to telling the truth is 0. What most people are incapable of, right? Because when we say telling the truth, there is this assumption that if I were to ask you something, or to ask you something, that you should give me an answer. That assumption is false. You never deserve an answer from anyone. The answer is something that they give you, because the question is yours. Therefore, the answer is there. So the limit in telling the truth is 0, meaning people should be allowed and not expected to say something, and we need the populace in general to be smart enough to understand that lack of an answer is not the answer that you decide, because they haven't given you what you want. So to me, the limit to telling the truth is the ability to say nothing and have everyone understand that their assumption on what your answer might be is just that, an assumption.
Thank you.
Second.
Wait a second. I lost your name. Ofio. Ofio.
Yeah.
Thank you.
First of all, we're talking about whether or not there should be. Okay, sorry. We're talking about whether or not we should have limits on free speech, basically, and telling the truth, which in today's world are very close together because there are arguments about what is truth. And we got to a point where we have, let's say, an entire generation growing up believing that each individual has their own truth, and we have no more communal truth, and everybody can say whatever they want, and we've lost a grasp on our agreed and communal sources of truth, meaning we rely on things like Wikipedia that, I don't know if you know, but Wikipedia is not an encyclopedia, it's simply an online forum, just like Reddit, just like Facebook, just like Twitter. It's not a source of truth. So, on one hand, we have that debate. On the other hand, we already have existing limitations on truth. We have things like defamation laws, which means that you're not allowed to say whatever you want about anyone that you want, even if it is true. We have NDS clauses in companies, which means that you're not allowed to disclose secrets, even if they are true. We have things like national security, which means that you're not allowed to leak documentation that might lead to a risk of a country, even if it is true. So we already have limitations on free speech, and we already have limitations on what you're allowed to say, even if it is 100% true. And on the other hand, we have situations of forced speech. So we have things like giving testimony at court, which is a situation where somebody tells you you have to tell the truth. And on top of that, we have new laws coming up, like what's happening in Canada right now, where we have bills that basically force you to say things even if you don't agree with them. And even if you don't think they are true, you're still legally bound to say those things, otherwise you might end up in a cage. So the argument is a bit more complex than should we allow people to tell the truth or not, because we already have mechanisms in place, and we need to look at each particular case and each particular mechanism on its own.
Thank you, Ophir. We have Natalia. And do we have other hands up? We have Victor. Then we have Valentin. Yes, you told me Valentin.
And me after.
And then we have Vlad. And then we have even somebody else. For now, it's everything. So, Natalia.
I wanted to add after Ophir, I totally agree with this, and I wanted to add that if we are talking about telling the truth to yourself, I think that in here that there is like super important to be super honest with yourself. So in here the limit of truth, like like it should be the maximum limit that you are able to do in this case when you are talking to yourself.
Thank you, Natalia. Victor.
Okay, so fast. Yep. Okay, I will stress very briefly why I didn't want to talk about this topic, because it wasn't so understandable, and so it wasn't. I didn't find anything to do with philosophy, yeah, because I will explain why it's not so understandable. So what the limitation? Where is the limitation of telling the truth? Well, what is the truth? And when some Greeks, the early Christians, wrote down the Gospels, well, the Bible. I think it was John, Gospel of John, chapter 18, verse I think 38 or somewhere there. Yeah, Quidas Velidas. The Pontius Pilatus asked Jesus when they had this sort of very fantastic debate, and the Roman governor asked Jesus, Quidas Velidas, so what is the truth? And the problem is, that's
Ophir.
Yeah, thank you. He addressed very beautifully that what back to the right question. What is the truth? There are so many spheres, and how can we define the truth? And if we want to talk about it a little bit philosophically, and then it should be back to the language itself. What is the truth? And so we have this kind. Let's simplify it. Let's say there are two types of truth. One is positive, one is negative. So what does it mean for positive? What does it mean negative? So in English, the truth is positive, just like in German, die Wahrheit is the positive. But as in Latin, veritas is positive. So it basically means what is the authentic, the thing as it is. But in Greek, the truth is negative. In ancient Greek and now it also it's dialectic. So in Greek the word was aletheia, or in the modern pronunciation aletheia. And is the prefix which is a negation of the prefix which expresses the negation. Aletheia derived from the verb I forget, the verb lethal, I forget. So the literary translation of a Greek concept of truth, that is unforgetfulness. Let's made up this word, or unconcealment, and that is the truth, which is something out there being covered, being concealed, and we uncover it, we unconceal it. So that is 2 minutes, I guess.
Thank you, Victor. Valentin. While other people speak, if you feel like you have to add something, raise your hand. And for example, now we're adding Matt. So if somebody wants to add something, you just raise your hands. Ophir. Now I remember your name. Sorry for and Valentin.
Yeah, I feel both because before we touched on a lot of things I wanted to say, at least emotionally. I think this question should be have limited on telling the truth, right? Hides a particular sub-question, should we have limited to story speech? truth a part of anything that can be cataloged as free speech? Or is free speech part of the truth? That's another question. Particularly, I think that while we may impose certain small minor limits on what we want to express, if these are blatant attacks of people or obvious, commonly agreed things that hurt people, we should accept that. Knowing the reasons why we impose those minor limits, but the limit, general, overall, major limit of telling absolutely anything that can lead to uncovering the truth about a certain situation should not be limited in any way, because you cannot reach any kind of conclusion that could resemble the truth. If you stop searching and if you stop discerning between what is not true and true. And ultimately, truth is a process of finding truth. It's not a tangible point. It is exactly having the freedom to search for it and to fight for it sometimes. Fight it with your mind and words, the way that you dissolve the illusion or what is untrue in the process of finding the truth. So I've been a bit vague about it. I hope everybody got my idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Valentin. We have Vlad.
Yes. I think that this topic is quite philosophical and even ethical. Ethics is a branch of philosophy that considering what is good, what is bad. So when we ask what should we do, how should we act in some situation, it's about ethics. Or about law, like what is allowed, what is prohibited. But now it's about ethics. And I wanna remind you two main schools, like ethics schools. There is contemporary, modern schools. They're still like arguing, debating about any question, and any topic that starts from the words "what should we do?" like should we tell the truth or should we limit it? Every topic has two different opinions according to these two schools. Like I mean, deontological ethics and utilitarianists ethics. Maybe, I don't know, is it correct in English or not? Because I'm translating in my head these names, but I think it's correct. So, deontological ethics, maybe we can face these norms in religious, in different kinds of religions. Maybe we can speak about Immanuel Kant also. So the main point of this worldview of this school that you should do, you should act as you wish everybody acts in the world. Like if you don't want somebody tell you like not truth but something like lying, if you don't know somebody lying you, if you don't know somebody kills another person. So you shouldn't do that. Like, the point is, you just have to imagine the beautiful world. Like, what should be the main rule for everybody, and you should support this point of view, because it's fair. Like, and even somebody asked this Immanuel Kant, okay, if you support this point of view, please answer. If, for example, imagine the situation when your friend is hiding in your house and somebody wants to find him and to kill him, and he just come to the home and ask, where is your friend? What should you answer? And Immanuel Kant answered that I should tell the truth, because I think that everybody wants to hear the truth when he asks something. So it's like main law, like main rule. So I would answer that my friend is here in home. It's a very philosophical question, and we can discuss it. And the other school, utilitarianist school, they think that the main thing is result, not process, but result, and we should always thinking about consequences. Consequence is more important than process. For example, if you can tell, if you're lying, but it's just for good reason, and you understand that that majority of people will feel better because of this lying, so it should be. But if you're telling truth, but you know that a lot of people will struggle because of that truth, so you shouldn't do that. And it touches every action, not only about lying or telling truth. It touches every, about maybe in some cases to kill someone for these people is a good act, because if you kill, for example, criminal, evil person, you can save other lives, because you kill murders, like that. So I would like to discuss considering these two schools, and for me it would be interesting to hear like which point of view you support, and like statistically, for example, how many persons would support the idea that the process, that we should act like we imagine the beautiful world, like we want everybody acts in the same situation, just this way, or we should always thinking about certain case, about certain consequences, and about result. So process versus results, like this. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have Matt.
So I'd like to introduce the topic of should there be a limit on lying from authority. In my opinion, we're fed constantly on lies by authorities. Our government, our media, even in recent years I would say our doctors. In my opinion, we were lied to constantly about COVID. I know it's a controversial topic, but this is the place for that kind of thing, right? Should there be a limit on lying from authority because you believe it's in the best interest of the people hearing you lie? Should you manipulate people into what you think is best for them? The Soviet Union lied constantly. They believed that it was in the best interests of the world to slaughter the best of the Poles in captivity. Every dictatorship believes that their dictatorship is for the best, and they will lie and lie to keep it up. Should there be a limit on lying from authority? And of course there should be a limit on lying if it's bad for someone, but what about when the lie is for the best? Maybe humans are stupid. Maybe we cannot be relied upon for logic, for even reason, for weighing up different sides of topics. Maybe we are only here today and maybe we are only alive because we have been lied to again and again and again by our leaders. Or maybe if they hadn't lied so much, maybe the world would be a less problematic place. So yeah, my question to you for consideration is, should there be a limit on lying from authority?
That's an interesting topic. Thank you, Matt and Ophir.
Yeah, since I raised my hand, a lot of ideas came up, so it's going to be a bit tricky to answer to all. But, okay, first of all, I would like to propose, because there's been a question of what is truth, and we talked about individual truth. So if we ask, should there be a limit on truth, there's a premise there that is, once somebody says something, we all automatically agree that it's the truth, which in today's world is not the situation. So we need to arrive at some kind of definition of what is truth, and the best one that I've heard so far is, truth is that which you cannot argue away. And my personal analysis of that, when I'm thinking about truth, is first of all that truth is, I equate it to something a bit more three-dimensional, whereas we think of truth as a single point in space that we all see from the same direction. It's kind of like the elephant metaphor, but I see it more as bricks in a wall, whereas the same truth could be true in different levels. Truth has levels. So for example, if you're talking about historical truths, you need to define every time, according to the topic that you're talking about, how far in history do you need to go back and look? Because if you're talking about disputes over land, the farther you go, the truth turns upside down. So, I mean, the planet has seen enough conquest and reoccupation and occupation and reoccupation of the same places, same territories. So every time we argue about what belongs to who and what was true historically, we have different points of references. So we need to decide on a certain scale of how far we go on each topic that we discuss, and what is the relevant time frame, or what is the relevant metric to decide according to the topic that we're dealing with right now. Another thing is that what Vlad brought up, act as you want others to act, I see it more as serving as an example, but not to say that treat others, there are the sayings that treat others as you would like to be treated, which in my world, my background is not exactly the same thing. We say, don't do unto others what you don't want to be done unto you. So we take the negative side, because if, for example, if you hold a certain opinion of what is good, again, goes back to the question of what is good. If you're, let's say, a very religious person and you believe that is the way of goodness, then you would try to impose that on everybody that you meet. So we take the more, let's say, liberal approach of like just live and let live, kind of. On the topic of ethics, I don't see ethics as the search for truth. Ethics is more the utilization of truth. So I see truth as a destination, an actual destination that we need to arrive at through conversation. It doesn't have to be the exact truth that we expect to find, And also, when we're talking about philosophy, when we're talking about Aristotle and Socrates and all those methodologies, we need to remember that they existed before the scientific method. A lot of those writings and a lot of those scriptures that a lot of smart people wrote that still serve us today, but they lived before the scientific method. So Aristotle didn't go out to the street to test his opinions and his worldviews. Seneca didn't, research his opinions, whether or not they apply in the real world. They just wrote these things out of their own thoughts.
Sorry, but Seneca was political philosophy, so he was testing. Just that.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Just throw out of my mind. But you know what I mean. Like we have the scientific
the concept
method.
Doesn't change.
Yeah. So I'm more about truth is a destination that we need to arrive at together. That doesn't mean that we need to agree on the same thing as far as our position, but we need to arrive at certain points that in a discussion between us we can say, okay, this is true and this is true. I prefer looking at this because I think it's more right. And then we go into questions of morality and what is more correct, and it gets more personal view. But there are empirical truths that we can arrive at, and until we arrive at empirical truths, we can't start discussing moral truths. And the field of ethics, the way I see it, is the utilization of those points of empirical truth and how we approach those. So if you have a debate between killing one person versus killing 10, you have to arrive at a point where you know exactly what the result would be of killing one person. For example, if we're talking about a convicted murderer, you have questions of like, okay, he did murder those people, he is guilty, we can kill him, and then we need to decide how to utilize that truth. What would be the benefit of killing him to society and to him, and what would be the benefit of keeping him alive, and why we choose to do that. So it's more about the utilization once you arrive at a truth. I totally agree with what Matt said about limiting lying, although I don't know if there's a law or a law is being enforced against lying. We don't accept politicians lying as a given, well, legally anyway. But there should be, I think, more severe laws on the accountability front. Because right now it doesn't feel like in today's world we hold people accountable enough for their actions, for their words. If somebody goes up and, like you said, lies about COVID and I don't know, anything political, like what's happening right now in the East, I think we need to hold our politicians to a higher degree of accountability for everything they say and everything they stand behind on a public platform.
Thank you, Ophir. Actually, sometimes I just insert some provocation, and you gave me a good idea for a small provocation, the difference between ancient and modern philosophy. Because actually, in the ancient times, most of philosophy it was about experiencing and suggesting to politicians. Like, for example, Hermes Trismegistus, I don't know actually how to say in English, but he was the guy that was suggesting to the pharaoh how to behave, and Seneca was the guy suggesting to the emperor how to behave, and even more modernly, like Michel de Montaigne, he was suggesting politics. But with academy, with university, we started having a new kind of philosophy. That is the kind of philosophy that is not proven on reality. And that's a different kind of philosophy. It's very interesting, this difference. I was not thinking about it, and thank you for pointing it out. And so a provocation could be, can we rely on philosophy that proved itself with practice? Because sometimes practice can change, so maybe theoretical is better, but maybe theoretical is not good because it's not proven on reality. it can be kind of a small provocation for you, and now we have Vincent.
Thank you. I just think it's a good space to complete Vlad's. I just think it's a good space to complete.
I was just telling Victor that I wrote down the name. Sorry.
To complete Vlad's definition that he gave about the two schools of telling the truth or not. Because it doesn't count. To my point of view, Kant's reason of why you should always tell the truth is very interesting. It doesn't mean that I agree with that, but his point of view is the following: that in a discussion there is how to call that? You have a notion of trust with the people you are talking to. And at some point, if the person lies to you, so let's say that like tomorrow, like telling the truth is not a universal rule, and that everybody lies, then there will be no notion of truth anymore. So we cannot interact with each other anymore, and that's the reason for Kant why you shouldn't lie to anybody. And for the same reason, to him, you shall never steal anything, because stealing implies some notion of property. And if on tomorrow everybody steals everything, then there will be no notion of property anymore. So the very notion of stealing is irrelevant. And to me, that's a very good point to discuss actually. And on the other hand, just in order to give a small provocation on the second school that says, okay, maybe if a lie is more accepted to most of the population, then you should accept this lie. What about like climate change? Just to merge to some other subject. That on tomorrow every politician says that climate change is a hoax and that it doesn't exist, then all the population will be very, very happy. And will be very happy to live their own life as they are living it like right now. So to me, it clearly shows all the limitations of telling the truth, of telling a lie, because the majority of the people just wants to hear it.
Thank you, Vincent. Actually, we're going to have Andri, Victor, and once again, as we choose your topic, Sasha, you will speak, because I see you have a lot of notes. And then we're going to have a small pause, okay? And after the pause, we're going to have a surprise, because tonight I'm going to do something completely different from other times.
Oh.
I want to try something different. So, Andre.
Okay. I want to make some critique about Vladislav. He described like two schools, two approaches, and as I understand, the first it's like we must always speak true. Yes, because
yes, because if
you have to shut up. I'm sorry. Note it down, because you will be able to say it afterward.
Yes, and the second, it's like the main, it's the result, not the process. Okay, from my point of view, it's like two polar opinions, because they explain very, very hard thing using very, very simple words, just one sentence. And if we take some philosophic topic, it's not like questions that have a very simple answer. And when people say that they have very simple answer to these questions, it's very, very high probability that it's false. Because, for example, I could say like some examples, yes, about the main results. We could say about like experiments on the humans, yes, without any moral or ethics, because it's like we need it for the science, we need it for like some scientific exploring of the possibility of human, and it's like a process. We have a very good results, we have new knowledges, but the process is normal. And also about saying the truth, I think, excuse me, what's your name? Ophir. Says that if we also could say some only truth, for example, from the point of the like government, when we have some restricted information, yes, and so on, it's also could make chaos. So it's just very two simple examples why one school and second school also couldn't be like right opinion. And I think if we want to be more close to some right opinion, we must search just something in the middle, you know, as in all cases. That's all.
Thank you, Andrew. We have Victor, but we don't have Victor. Yes, you raised your hand, not me.
I have a company. I think
Vladislav.
Yeah, and Vincent. I don't know French. And thanks to them that they mentioned about these two schools, and especially you two talk about Kant, a very interesting direction. Well, there's something, you know, in Kant, it isn't quite like that. You did mention about in his contemporary time that somebody challenged him about whether his friend is mad, and there are the bad guys chasing, and whether he was there, and whether he shall tell the truth. Where he went. Yeah, good. It isn't quite like that, because the thing is that's quite a provocation. And another point is what Kant meant. What Kant meant was, you have to make let's say an ethical law which is categorical, and you shall act categorically, and that doesn't mean that categorically, without exception, but before you do that, before you reach that point, there is a whole rational consideration, and that part is what you didn't mention, and what lots of people are challenging that part. Yeah, you see, the debate isn't really about, in that example, in that provocation, it really isn't about whether he should tell where he went. The simple fact is about, after that kind of consideration, shall he still tell them how the direction his friend went after this whole process of rational consideration, then apply how it did apply to his categorical law, and which is precisely the point when, you know, in 1961 or 60, I think it's 1961, the trial of Adolf Eichmann in Jerusalem, and when at the end of the trial, Eichmann, I don't know if you watched the trial, if anybody watched the trial. I watched it because I speak German, and mostly it's in German. And it's amazing. He quoted Kant. He acted categorically, and he deported hundreds of thousands of people, and the result in their death. But he precisely misquoted Kant, and that is his misunderstanding. He reduced this rational consideration, full rational consideration, which he didn't. He was so stupid, he was so banal, he was so much into that his contemporary ideology, which is surrounding him, very popular. Not everybody, lots of journalists believe that, actually believe that. Sorry. And yeah, well.
They believe that Kant not affected.
It doesn't mean Kant wasn't right. It was it meant that Adolf Eichmann misquoted him. Okay, cool. My 2 minutes finished. Cool.
If you still have one sentence, you can.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So now we have Sasha, then we have the pause, then we have the surprise, and everybody will be still able to speak. So, Sasha. So if you have something to say, to add, you can still raise your hands, and I will note your name for after the pause.
Okay, it's hard to refer to all the points of view.
What?
I totally agree that all the questions like this should be precise. I was talking about the authority and the truth in the government, or we are talking about the truth in between two people who are just talking, or the truth in political, philosophical debates, for sure. Maybe I will refer to several points of view that were the closest to my question. It was my question. So, but actually, I understood maybe what I wanted to talk about, and thank you for that, and for your knowledge and for your ability. Ontological and practical way of thinking, way of living, way of acting. Yeah, that's actually what the thing I was talking about. The process or the result, the practice or the theory. It's all actually connected questions. If we rely, somebody would say, if we rely only on the result, if we if we consider only the result, then actually I think that actually there will be no truth, because all the truth will depend on the result we want to have right now. And I'm like maybe belong to that circle of people that believe that there is the truth that is independent, that is independent, that is objective. Of course, there is a part of truth in this. We should consider the result. We should consider the people if we offend them, as Lisa said, while talking. But I think that's the ability to learn and to talk the way we talk, right? Not the truth we say. So I think that the closest way to answer this question is that if there should be really no limit. I agree. I think Ophir said that no limit on the search of truth together, but not on like telling the exact things in one situation or another. Really also like felt the same when Vincent talked. There should be very limit on truth. That's right. That's totally right. Because always, for example, for me, what I expect when I talk to people and when I ask them, that they'll be truthful, right? They'll be authentical. There will be like the other way. There is no sense to talk. And if we are here, the sense is important to all of us, right? Yeah. So I think that's it, and I think we've covered different branches of this topic. There is a lot to think about.
Mała przerwa, little pause, petite pause, piccola pausa. How in German?
Kleine Pause.
And so after the pause, we're going to try something completely new. So in 10 minutes, sit down.
Yeah.
And you will see
Small
some
pause, blind pause. Blind pause. You need more German word Unterbrechung. Pause. But it sounds more German, you know.
I know my knowledge as a personal tutor.
Just one? Just one? Just one cigarette? Okay, so the surprise is this one. The surprise is that actually half of you. Let's wait because. Okay. So, the second one that almost won was what give human beings their value. And now we will try to discuss this one. Usually we have only one topic, but tonight we're going to have two. But if somebody still wants to add something to the previous discussion, is allowed. We're not going to stop it. So basically, because you see, during a philosophical cafe, you can speak to me, and I cannot answer until when is my turn. Is not my turn, but we can totally use one topic, even if the other are speaking about the other one. So even the previous topic should be a limit in telling the truth. If somebody still has to add something, it's still allowed. No problem. Okay? So, but we're introducing the other topic too. There is should be a limit, and there is what gives human beings their value. So Malek is going to introduce the topic for us. Thank you, Malek.
Okay, so shall I start? Okay. So I really want to talk about this topic because we live in a ever more globalized society. We have people from different backgrounds with different ideologies and belief systems, and I think it would be very interesting to hear each of your different perspectives about this. And I think it's quite important for us to find the thing, or try to find the thing that gives value to humans, and I think it would be crucial in order for us to coexist, like in society together. Because will we be dividing ourselves based on nationalities? Will we be dividing ourselves based on religion, or based on good deeds, let's say? And yeah, I'd like to talk about that tonight.
Thank you, Malek. Now the half of you voted for this topic, so enjoy. Raise your hands and tell us what you want to say about that. We have Vincent.
No, he's Victor. Victor.
So I guess,
No, that's Vincent, and then we have Victor.
So I guess I will just.
We have full of V.
Very controversial out there. Two things. Well, first, to me, I'd say race isn't real. It's something that someone came up with at some time, maybe a few hundred years ago in the past. It's not something real. It's fictitious. So race is about as real as Harry Potter. You can write about it as much as you want, and you can come up with ways in which you can apply it. But all in all, there's no such thing as race. Scientifically speaking, all humans are part of the same group. If we weren't, just like we observe in other animals, you wouldn't be able to either procreate at all or procreate other humans that can continue to procreate. So the race division is sort of ridiculous. Now, to get to humans with value, I'm going to take the controversial position that humans don't have any value because a human being is just any other animal on the planet. So if you want to say what gives humans their value, you would have to explain what gives value to a dog or a cat or some random animal, a bat, right? Like, what gives them value, right? And if you cannot really define what would give some random animal value, why would a human being have any more value than any other animal on the planet? So I would say that human beings don't have any special way to have any level of value more than any other animal on the planet.
And we have Vincent. That was this one. Victor.
Yeah, did you want to correct what you said?
No, you were, who's next?
Yeah, I know that's me. Okay, Marek.
Yeah.
I misunderstood. Maybe.
No, I just raised my hand to be the next one in line. So you were first.
Yeah, because I think maybe it's my mistake. It was like what he said, what he supposed, and what he said wasn't exactly the same topic. Or do you think it's the same topic?
I think it's from my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like how do
or the
like how to like I think a subtopic would be how to judge a human being, like based on what, like what gives a human their value, like is it, and I think he was like maybe it's the race, or maybe it's nationality, or maybe it's yeah, it was something.
We go back to Genesis, first chapter, Genesis. The value of human being is sort of higher than other kind of animals. Or let's say, well, it's different because the Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, they place the order differently. Well, whether the human beings were created at the last or the first, or yeah. So the chronicle order was different. But anyhow, in the whole Judaism, let's say the value of human lives is defined by the scripture. I think as well as Muslims, which human beings are relatively superior race a creature than other kind of animals. So human beings, animals, and other non-living, let's say, plants also.
But why?
Yeah. The
Oh, okay.
Scrittura. Sola scrittura. Yeah, like something like that. So, yeah, and I have my time. Let's see.
And we have Malek once again.
So I just wanted to comment on what Vincent said. So I just want to say that maybe like the choice of topic, maybe I didn't put it in the right, I don't know, philosophical terms. Maybe in like my, as someone not from the field, maybe
Wait,
I could have
is
used
it
other words.
somebody that didn't understood the topic? Raise your hand. So you're clear.
Okay.
Go with
But
it.
it's not like anyone could understand it in a different way.
That's another problem, but that's normal in a discussion.
Yeah, but like that's the point. It's like to put
Yes.
the topic there and whatever comes to mind. Like you said, we're like one brain, and each
Yes.
one comes with the thought.
As long as everybody has one idea about the topic, he's been clear. So let's go
like,
with it.
Value, let's say, or like etc. So like what Victor said about about scripture, let's say, or like
the values of human beings are defined by the scripture.
Yeah, by the scripture. So yeah, this is like the let's say monotheistic view on human value, and as you correctly said, it's like it puts it basically says Adam and the sons of Adam are like very very special creatures, even more special, not only more than creatures on earth, but also more special than the celestial creatures like angels, let's say. So it's like it's a worldview where the human being is a very like special, like it's like the spoiled child of God, you could say. And I would argue that the most thing that gives this human being value is the intellect, is the human intellect, the ability to human beings are the only creatures in the animal kingdom that have cognition and that have the ability to abstract thinking. And I think it's like one of I would argue it's the most important thing that gives a human being their value. And also you talked about Vincent talked about race and like how he doesn't see race at all, and I see where he's coming from, because in Eastern societies, in the Middle East, let's say, we don't divide people based on their, let's say, race or like skin color, but the division is more about their beliefs. So like we divide group into religious groups. Like you have the Muslims, you have the Jews, you have the Christians, you have the other religious groups, and this is like the huge difference between the Western the Western way of thinking, I would say, and the more like Middle Eastern or Eastern way of thinking. And you can see it's even today, like even in societies like the US or in Europe, the race topic is very let's say actual. It's like it's a very important topic. So yeah, so that's it.
Ophir.
Thanks. Okay, I'm going to try to respond chronologically. So, first of all, the question of what gives humans their value, I tend to go these days with a simple answer of God. And that's not to say that I'm religious or believe in God as an entity, but as an idea. And the reason that I tend not to go with the idea of cognition, for example, is because cognition is a human trait. If you put humans above animals, let's say, it's what gives us the power on this planet versus all other animals. But what makes us humans as a group versus, for example, if we talked about racism, and I personally don't see the division of dividing humans by race or dividing humans by their faith and treating them differently based on that. I think it's the same type of wrong. I mean, looking at people differently based on their skin color, and skin color, I mean, this skin is an organ. So it's like, I don't know if anybody watches Rick and Morty. There was an episode where, you know, they went to the Purge planet, and they started basically massacring each other based on the shape of the nipples that the different people had. You know, whether it was triangle nipples or round nipples or sticky nipples. And it's exactly the same thing, because the skin is an organ, so it's only a question of which part of the planet you're on and what's the radiation level there. And I don't think that separating people based on which faith they belong to is any better. Because at the end of the day, it's a question of tribalism and the familiar versus the unfamiliar, which has, let's say, historical and even justified reasons, because a lot of this goes back to fear of disease, because any new people, any new conquerors that would come along, whether it's the Spaniards or anybody else, would bring new diseases with them, so we automatically learn to be afraid of whoever looks different than us, because simply they might carry different diseases that might wipe us out. So the reason that I choose to go with the God element is simply that it gives us something that is above us rather than something to look for in each of us. So once you have something that is above you, and it automatically tells you, you are all under me, which means that none of you can climb up to my level. So it keeps everybody in check. It's the equivalent of what we have as a law, basically. If we say that nobody is above the law, and that means judges, that means politicians, that means the president, the prime minister, nobody is above the law. The idea of God gives us something that we are all subordinate to, and it forces us to look at each other as equals and to see not the that's another reason why I don't go with cognition and, for example, levels of intelligence or anything like that, because the fact that you have a certain level of intelligence or the fact that you have a consciousness at a certain level that, for example, separates us from animals, doesn't mean that you are morally superior. And that's a problem that we have in the world today, where we see value in intelligence and we see value in cognitive ability, whereas it doesn't really equate to moral, let's say, truth. Just because you're better or smarter or you contribute doesn't mean that you have, more reason to live. I think that makes sense.
We have Vincent, and then Victor, and then
to go back to
Malek.
Okay, yeah, to go back to a few points. I suppose I will start with scripture. So, again, I'm trying to be controversial. Scripture was written by less knowledgeable people. There are things that we know. Scripture was written by less knowledgeable people. There are things that we know, even in the past 10, 15, or 20 years, that we didn't know before, right? So the further back you go, the less the people who wrote these things down actually knew. So why people 1 to 10,000 years later would adhere to some book written by some person who, quite frankly, you are probably much smarter than, doesn't make any sense. So scripture as a way to define good and value is useless. Faith, in a way, is used to properly define your enemy and to encircle a group of people who would otherwise go elsewhere. So, for example, if you lived on this side and that person and other people lived on the other side, you sort of stay on your side because of the faith that you've been dyed in, right? If there was something wrong in your country, you wouldn't quickly leave because in other places the people are different from you. So in a way, faith is used to hold groups of people in to keep that system going, whereas if you weren't so beholden to that, you would probably see a lot more of people moving to various places that were in the benefit of themselves or their family. And then I just wanted to clarify on race. I obviously see where people come from and all these things. What I'm saying is that the idea of it, that it is something that separates us in a way, doesn't make sense for the human being.
right? Gave this idea of the fact that we can all sort of procreate with each other. So scientifically speaking, race is sort of stupid, but people, we all enjoy race as a form of division. So once again, when you can create someone who's different from yourself, no one wants to be the same as everyone else, right? People want some level of uniqueness, and you could say that race and all these other things are the level of uniqueness that we would like. And to be more unique, we'd be alone, but to be less unique, we would somehow feel that we are nothing. So we create these special divisions, like race or religion, because that's big enough. The group is big enough at that level. And the last thing I want to mention was intellect. So humans are supposed to be the most intelligent, and in a way you can say this is where we get our value, because there are various things that we do that other animals cannot do, right? We can pass on knowledge through a book in a way that a dog or a cat or a whale can't, which is why we got ahead of it, and that's why we sort of have dominion over every other animal in the world. But what this also means, for example, is suppose general artificial intelligence showed up, general artificial intelligence would be more valuable than the human being, because for the same reasons, it would be much smarter than we are in all aspects. And the last point I want to point out with intellect as a way of sort of seeing human value is that the world was actually built through intellect, not through, say, hard work.
Thank you, Vincent. We have Victor.
So I'm going to comment on Vincent and Mark. So first, you said the Western way of seeing it is through race. I don't know, the West, I guess not. I'm from Far East, the Eastern Siberia. So it isn't quite. Actually, it's only one stream of it, you know. It's a very, race is kind of, you know, very modern constructed idea, you know. It wasn't quite even in the past. You know, in the Roman Empire, there were lots of different kinds of people walking on the street. You know, there are lots of black. They were just there. You know, they were just there, and it wasn't like they were refugees or so. It's quite a new phenomenon. In the past, they were just there as part of them. And what defined, and also in Greece, you know, they were just walking on the streets, you know, it just like that. And it's a modernized kind of construction, new construction. And in the past, what defines people was what kind of god they worshipped, what kind of language they spoke, and what kind of territory they are living or they lived. And so that is one part of it, and there are other different kind of part of it, different stream of it. And it wasn't like this is Western, this is the Middle Eastern, this is what Eastern. No, we got lots of that, like post-colonialism or colonialism or whatsoever, which kind of everything from the West is just, you know, something really bad. Not quite. We are using everything from the West against the West, you know. And also, Vincent, I want to make a comment on that, which you made a claim. I don't know where it's based from. It's based on, yeah. My English isn't so good. Really, you had a definition of what religion is and what faith is, and what a scripture is, and well, it unites people, you know, differ from others, which wasn't quite true about religion itself. Because the scriptures are not created by humans. was inspired. It's the divine inspiration. It was the divine inspiration, and people have written it down, and they change it through times, according to their different agenda in different times, indeed. But the phenomenon that people have written that down at all was a divine revelation. What exactly they are, they change all the time. The Bible was changing all the time. The first chapter of Genesis and second chapter of Genesis have different creation stories. They are in different chronicle orders. People change it, even 3,000 years ago. But the point is, what they have ever written it down, that is a divine revelation. It's not came from nowhere. You know, before that, nobody written that kind of story down. Where you get that from?
We have to come to an end.
Yeah, okay, good.
Just that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And we have Malek.
So I just wanted to comment on the thank you. On what you said about you said that you said that division based on race is in your eyes comparable to or like the same as division based on faith, like and
religious faith,
religious faith, and you called it like more like tribalism, right? And I would argue that it's not the same thing, because on the first one, like when you divide people based on race, it's something you have no control over it. You cannot choose your race. You cannot change the fact that I cannot change the fact that I don't know, that I'm Middle Eastern or Arab. Vincent cannot change the fact that he's African American and so on. But when it comes to religious faith, we have the freedom to choose our faith. You can change. You can become a Christian, or you can become a Muslim. You can become a Jew, like, you know. And I think it's not on the same level. One is you have more flexibility in it. The other one is you have absolutely no way in changing it. Another idea was what also something really I really like the way you talked about God, like, because you talked about God as an abstract, or like as an idea in a way, and I think like in practice it doesn't make much difference whether you believe in God as an let's say an entity, or I would say living, but like, you know, as a self-aware entity, or do you believe in God as an abstract, or like as the absolute of goodness, let's say? And I think in practice it's both ideas have the ability to unite people together. So I think, like, you know, we have the imaginative capacity to imagine God and think of God the way we like, and I would argue it's actually the only way to unite people. Like, you can, it's like when you look at history, the only way that has united people from different languages and different cultural backgrounds was religious faith. Like when you look at for example, you look at Jerusalem, how the Christian pilgrimage in Jerusalem, you see people from all over the world, from speak all languages, have, you know, from all races. When you look at Mecca and in the Arabian Peninsula, you also see people from all over the world under, you know, worshipping one God, and I would say it's like the humans haven't come up with a more natural, or like with a more sensible way to unite humanity, or even more just way to unite humanity. I think it's the most just solution for us to coexist together. It's like to have this absolute that that is above us all, like the law. No one should be above the law, but in this sense, like no one should be like above God. So yeah.
Thank you. We have Ophir.
Quick example, quick opportunity to retort. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, although I do think that God as a reality creates a problem, because you talk about the positives and you talk about uniting people, but the problem with that is that when you say uniting people, you basically mean uniting people under the same idea, and that creates a problem of what happens with the people that don't share that idea. What do we do with them? And history shows us that we basically massacre them, because as you unite more and more people, they become the majority group, and it is the absolute tendencies of every religion that became great and powerful to try and overtake as much as possible. Like religions are ideas that don't censor themselves by their nature. So in the same way that you can say that it will unite the world, I can also say that, okay, it will unite maybe a great majority of the world, but that great majority will go on to butchering the remainders. And in my opinion, uniting the world is not the answer, because uniting the world, when you say uniting the world, you basically mean to eliminate the most critical differences between us. And that's a dangerous thing. I personally think that it's better to maintain our differences and maintain tension. And tension is what constantly makes us question reality and have problems and argue about solutions and move forward together without killing each other. I think that's a better way than trying to unite everybody, because that's a bit of an overwhelming task, and it will indefinitely include a lot of killing. I want to comment to what Vincent said about the scriptures being useless. Vincent, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
just to recommend.
Yes, I was arguing that since...
No, you have to, if you want to speak. Okay. Actually, you're already on the list.
It's okay. I mean, it just, to what you said, I would just like to recommend something. You said that the scriptures were written by somebody unknown thousands of years ago, which is absolutely true. I don't know the people who wrote it, and I shared your opinion until I started watching Jordan Peterson's biblical series. If you go online and you see that, he analyzes the biblical stories from a psychological point of view, and you come to realize that there is so much wisdom in the early stories, the biblical stories, from a psychological standpoint, that you can still see them acting out in our current reality today. They present philosophical questions, and they present, very, very human urges and negative aspects and positive aspects, and everything is still playing out. All of these biblical stories are still playing out in today's world. So it's a very, it gives you a completely new perspective about the biblical stories. And I personally came out after watching those from a standpoint, okay, I still don't believe in God as a deity, but I am much more cautious about breaking down the entire religious structure, because I know that without it, we'll basically end up with chaos and more carnage than we think those religions caused. And yeah, also to what you said about the world was built on intellect and not through hard work, which I think is absolutely hard work. If you think about how we create our world, hard work is the most, it's the lowest level of manifestation. So if you think that we create our world through intelligent design and software and IT, you need to remember that in order to facilitate that work, you need electricity, which takes a lot of hard work to create. If you think about the people who are in the process of creating electricity all the way through, you need to drive a car that somebody needs to build on a road that somebody needs to pave, and our entire lives are based on a lot of hard-working people that we don't even see because they work while we sleep. And that's why I believe that our intellect and the design of our reality is secondary to hard work. It doesn't come instead of it. It can never come unless we get to the robotics age where we have, people to replace hard work, or robots to replace hard work. Yeah.
Okay, now what we are going to do is that we still have Vlad, Vincent, Vincent, and then we are going to have Malek because he was the one that proposed the topic. Then we have another pause, and then we have the last phase. So don't book now, just Vlad, Vincent,
Actually,
Vincent.
I'm not on the list, he just said some things that I wanted to say. So I'm
Okay.
on the list.
So we have Vlad and Vincent and Malek, and it's the end of the phase. Vlad.
Yes. A lot of things I want to notice. The first one is the last one that we heard about comparing hardworking and intelligence. I think that when Ophir, told us that there are a lot of people who do hard work while we are sleeping, because we use, for example, a car that was made by some group of people, yes. But I believe that this hard work that we have is also based on intelligence, and I believe that even if you do just simply acts, intelligence is not also about what you should do, it's also about what you shouldn't do to make something good. I mean, you can make simply steps, like very easy steps, like very hard-working, let's say, and you can think that it's not intelligent work, but I think we have system that based on intelligence, and people are part of this big system. Yes, this is the first, and the second, the main question was, I think, why humans are not animals? Like, what is the difference between animals and humans? And I think the main difference is that we, as a human, we are thinking about what is our value, like what should we do with our life. Like, this is the main, this is the point that we are different from animals, because they don't thinking about this, and they don't have like concepts, words, I mean language in our, and they have their language, okay, but they don't have language as a system of different meanings, interpretations, so they don't thinking about sense of life, and that's why I think that we cannot say just that we are animals and no difference between us and animals. I think we like it's our nature to look for a sense, to look for an answer why we are living. It's our nature. It's our main task in our life. Like it's the main thing we should do to use our life like for some good reasons, like for some sense. And that's why I think we need the idea of God, the concept of God, because just simply because we don't have an alternative. If an alternative idea is just not belief to God, so we have empty. Because I think everybody will agree that not about that. And the third topic about human values, the third question about human values. I think that now we have a system where we have money and the money have values, but in this system, like considering people from point of view of this system, let's say capitalism, like let's say, like I don't know how to say, postmodern society, I don't know, but from this point of view, human is just a tool, it's just instrument, just mechanism for money to make another money. I mean, we have different kinds of capital, like just imagine that we have different companies, like money, and this money like intend to make to become bigger, to make more money, to broad themselves, like to compete, to make more power, more money, and the humans they just like soldiers, like they just act for capital to be bigger, like to be more powerful. So yes,
come to a point.
Yes, I don't know, because three questions, not common point for them. They are like different questions. Let's continue. No points. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and we will be able to speak even afterward. Don't you worry. Now we have Vincent here, and then we have Malek, and then we have a pause.
Okay, let's see. So, the divine. The divine is subjective. Technically, humans invented it, so it can't be proven. We were talking about previously. So, in ways, divination is an excuse, right? If you believe in divination, then you should also believe in the law of attraction. They're about at the same level. If lions had divination, they would divination. If lions believed in the divine, that they would just go and massacre other animals, because the divine would probably tell them that they are above these other animals because of their power, because of their prowess, right? But instead, they kill for what they want to eat. So the divine, in a way, gives you the right to condemn based on its authority. So it grants you authority to condemn based on itself. So it can scarcely be agreed upon like something like law, right? Laws can grow and laws can change, but the divine, as someone has written it down, tends to be something that we would like to be immutable. So I would say, throw it out. Next. So value does come through intellect, but it scares people. It scares people because they think they cannot also do that. What we can all do is work hard, but we are afraid that what we can not all do
is be smart. So it's much easier to say that your dog is smart and say about yourself, oh, I know that there are things that I do not know, than to say the dog is stupid and I'm smart. You'll see that all the time. People call an animal smart with themselves, hey, right? So I would say that, humans' value does come through intellect, right? And we have to remember that religion stifled science. Science is a form of intellect. So we cannot rely on religion and the divine as someone or some ones have written it, because there is already a history of religion stifling science. So religion needs to be either subservient or separate from intellect and science, because the evolution of religion is too slow, if at all. Finally, the goal of the human being is to make things easier, okay? So that means that if there is no idea, there is no progress, and things do not get easier. If all we ever did was work hard, we would be like other animals. Human beings do not work harder than other animals on this planet. We have refrigerators, we have everything you see here. Every other animal works harder than us. But once again, if we were only work hard, we would have done so for eternity. We would not be here in this way. The only way other animals would catch up to us would not be through outworking us, it would be through garnering additional intellect, right? We can pass down things that they can't because of that. So, so I wanted to say that, to me, human value does come through intellect, and, in that sense, hard work versus intellect is what separates us from the other animals.
Thank you. Now we have the conclusion of Malek and then the pause.
There were so many points there that I don't know what to, it's hard to answer everything. So when I said at first that I believe what gives human beings their value is their intellect, what I had in mind was also that with human, like the only way to find the divine, or like to find, let's say, or to have an idea of God is through intellect. Like God, the idea of God as an abstract is, like, I think came into being through human intellect, and I think scripture in itself, is something that provokes the human, the human intellect, and was the precursor of scientific, the scientific revolution in the first place. And you also said that religion was hindering science, and it is true, but you cannot generalize, because you're talking about Christianity, I suppose, in Europe, and the Institute of the Christian Church in specific, and in other religions, it's not necessarily the case. Like you could. For example, give the example for example, in Islam, science was viewed as part of the let's say Islamic tradition, and science was under the umbrella of religion, and it thrived back then, and it was encouraged for thinkers to think in many fields, in philosophy, in mathematics, and so on. So it's not always the case that religion, is against science. And I see no problem. Like, why can't you work on both sides? Like, why can't you have a religious view of the world and also use the scientific method? Like it's I think both talk about different they have different fields, so it's I don't see why why do they contradict one another?
They are conflict. I mean, they're totally different thing they are saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing. One is saying left, one is right.
No, but
how they could do
wait, no, because like I think science describes the material world. It doesn't talk about the nature of the soul.
Religion also say God created.
We have a method you don't speak out in any moment. I'm sorry to interrupt you because you were never speaking, so I would like you to make you speak, but we are really in the end. So next, after the pause, okay?
So
after the pause.
The thing is that even the stories in the Holy Scripture, in the Bible, in the Quran, in the Torah, you could think of them as allegories, like as not factual, and they still do their magic. Like they still change people's lives, and they still like exist in the psychological realm, let's say. So if you think of it in this way, then it doesn't contradict science at all. So I think science is not the scientific method does not give you a way of life. Like it doesn't give you a purpose. It has its its applications in the materialistic world, and it has given us great advancement. But I think the more like what science has proven is that there's so much more that we do not know. So like the more we know, the more we find out how the universe and our human existence is complicated. And when you go, for example, in the realm of quantum physics, then it gets it's outside the laws of physics in the first place. So we can say that only through science we could find the nature of our existence. And I think it would be insufficient only to view the world through a materialistic lens. So yeah, okay. Last idea. So I think there should be an objective value of humans that we could all share in spite of culture and religion. I think we can find it through having a deity, let's say, above us all. Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. We are going to have the last pause, and then basically we have a drink all together if you want to stay. And we will speak about the topics, but without me facilitating, because I'm destroyed. So that's it. I was here from 7 to 10, and it's already 10:45. So I think it's enough.